It is a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday night. We're talking about some really important stuff tonight, y'all. You know, we're talking about, we're talking about people and their cheering. That's one thing, you know.
All the way back from wherever
This
you were.
is AfroEconomics live on a Wednesday night, and tonight's topic is about you and your children. Are your adult children in your pocket? Get them out. Look, and it's so the interesting thing about it is I knew that I was taking a chance when I selected this topic because overwhelmingly no one ever wants to talk about this. No, that I made the mistake one time. I was working with some grandparents and we were having our quarterly review, and the grandfather, was being honest, and he was talking about how the grandchild was like taking advantage of them. Like she was like, they're not paying their bills and they're not, doing. And I said, oh my, like, how could they do that, right? And I don't know. I just kind of lost it. Like I was really mad, like being overly protective of my client because I knew that the grandchild was married and highly capable of paying their bills with these two adults that were making money, you know, and they were just, you know, um, during the pandemic and everything, both working, everything fine, getting these checks for them and their children, and how could you not pay your grandparents? Do you all feel me on that?
I
Yeah.
do.
So then the grandmother, you could tell she started backpedaling because she didn't like the way I was like being so hard on the grandchild. Like, how would she let this happen? How could the grandchild do this to them? Why would they doing this? They should know better. They know better. And then, and the grandmother started saying, well, they pay sometimes. And, well, and then I was like, JB, you should have never got in on this, you know? But it was probably something that was bothering the grandfather, and he wanted sort of a mediator, to get involved in it. But with the grandmother being the stronger personality, what happened? Absolutely nothing. So it's been
Yep.
years have gone by, and when we do our checkups, the same thing's happening. Years. And I said, you're not helping your child or your grandchild because their child is allowing this to happen, because that's their child, correct?
Right.
That's not, the child is allowing this to happen to their parent by their own child because the grandparent taking that type of financial hit does what? Allows them to not have to worry about it. And I have seen grand I have I've seen a grandmother be put out of her house because
Yep.
of school loans not being paid by the
Right.
grandchild, and a garnishment started for the school loans because the grandchild refused to pay.
Right.
So the grandmother loses her house.
Yep.
That's sad. That's sad. And so it says that according to reports, this is May 2021. Well, it's June now, but this came out in May. Many American parents are financially supporting their adult children at the expense of their own financial wellness. So this isn't just us Black people, this is a national challenge.
Yep.
So let's think about, what do we need to do to teach the adult children to be financially independent, to be self sustaining, to be proud enough to not want to ask you every time something goes wrong. Don't you think so? That there's a certain point where they should feel like Yes, I have this problem. Yes, there is a quick fix, but I want to grow. I want to solve this on my own. They shouldn't just come to you just at, because this is the easiest way out. Mm.
Mm.
So in 2019, a bank rate survey found that 60% of Americans who lent money to a loved one, 60% of Americans who lent money to a loved one, 46% lost money and saw their relationship with the borrower harmed.
Mm-hmm.
So of the 60% of Americans who did loan money to a loved one, 46% of them, it hurt their relationship. My answer to that is don't lend anybody money.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
If
fact.
if you can't give it to them, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Then I will stop because it will really hurt a relationship when you loan something to someone and you really need it back.
Mm-hmm. And they can't give it back.
And every time you see them on social media, because I've gone through that, and you see them on social media partying and everything, and you sitting there working, but they only have to do that to me once. They up there turning up and everything, and then she was telling me about how everything was so hard for her and she needed my help. But you don't, she's not even considering. I know I gave it to you, but you're not even considering that you should maybe pay it back.
Pay it
Consider,
back.
try. But no, instead of that, you come back and ask again and again and again and again for years. So there's people going through that with family members.
Yep.
It's a little easier to say no when it's someone and it's not a family member, it's just someone, a friend, that you know. But it's like, but if it's, ends up being a family member, that's, that can get hard. Like, at what point is your cutoff?
Mm-hmm.
So 45% of parents with adult children have given their children money during the coronavirus pandemic. 45% of parents. So if we probably broke that down to Black numbers, do you think it would be smaller or larger?
Larger.
I think so too. 45% of parents in general. So we broke that down to us, where, we're talking about a lot of Black people were out of work. And I've found people who have said, oh, well, my child was out of work, so you're helping them and they're getting unemployment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just because they're out of work doesn't mean they're out of money. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Do you know why are you not requiring that they budget the income that they're getting?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
First, let's look at what you're getting in and what are you doing with the budget that you have. Even if they are living in your house, even more importantly, if you're keeping a roof over their head and they're an adult, that's enough. Depending on where you live, providing housing is saving them thousands
Yeah.
a month.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
they
don't.
said, and these parents that are loaning money to their adult children during the coronavirus pandemic, they said that 79% of the parents who have loaned this money out to adult children have found that they could have used the money. They admitted that they needed to use that money towards other financial challenges that they have themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are sacrificing financially to help their adult children. So if you're doing that now, you realize that you're increasing your chances that you're going to not be able to take care of yourself.
Right. But JB, doesn't that start from the beginning? Like when I think it starts from when they were a child.
Yeah. getting
because
them,
that's
helping them
it's
develop a work
ongoing.
ethic. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's ongoing. So it's just like when they're a child, you think they're cute and they could do this and they promise. And as they get older, you can see that they're not going to do what they said they're going to do. But you're caught up into this giving,
Exactly.
giving.
That's right. That's right. And it's hard because sometimes, like with the grandparents, there's one that has good sense and there's one that doesn't.
Mm, mm. That's true.
And it's
That's
really
true.
bad when the one that has the good sense, is not the one that has most of the money, because just because someone, has, more control over the money, it doesn't mean that they have good sense. Sometimes they don't do well in communicating, so they just want stuff to be over.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, if I could just give them this money, then they could just go away. So people feel like, let me do, that which is easiest, and just give them this money, even though I got this credit cards of my own. I need to be, because the company that did this research was creditcard.com.
Mm,
They
Mm.
did a survey and they said that these parents that are giving money, to, and I don't know, I think this is Larry Wells. How you doing, Mr. Wells? I'm gonna open up your mic, hope, thinking that it's you. You are not the only Larry in all the world. He just put Larry. That's, I had to get on Mr. Richardson about that. I say, we have, a couple of Maurices, so you got to tell me which Maurice it is. So now we know. Now we know Maurice Richardson, the indeed. So let's think about that. The credit card survey is saying that 33% of the parents who are loaning out this money said that they should have been using the money to pay down their own debt. 27% said they needed to use the money they gave to the adult kids for their own day-to-day expenses. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Another 27, almost 30%, said that they also needed to boost their own emergency savings.
Mm-hmm.
And 16% said, oh, yeah, I guess I do need to save something for my future. Isn't that sad?
Mm,
That retirement.
mm.
They just gave up on that. No. And then 10% said they needed to do some investing. But the amazing part is that 33%, over a third, we're saying that well, a third is saying that they needed it to pay their own debt. Mm,
JB,
yes.
I think about my mom, and I know that she's 80, or she'll be 81,
Mm,
and she is the type of grandparent that will give and
mm,
give and give. Now
yeah.
she doesn't have credit card debt. However, it's just she just will
Can't,
give her last dime.
she
And
can't say no. She
she
can't say no.
cannot say
Yeah.
no to
Yeah.
those grandkids.
Yeah. That's so sad.
It is very sad.
And they
Very
shouldn't
sad.
be. And that's a parent issue of the grandkids,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they should be under full control, that you do not ask your grandmother, you know what I mean, for anything. She
Mm-hmm.
needs to take care of her day to day.
Well, I
Mm,
think, and it's another
Yeah.
piece where, like, if it, like, my nephew is in the house with my
Mhm.
mother and my father,
Mm,
and if he does something to
mm,
help her with my father,
mm.
my mother feels obliged to have to give him some change. And
That's
I'm
so
thinking,
sad.
you
mm.
don't have to do that, but
Yeah.
she will
And
not
and it-
stop doing it.
and he doesn't pay to live there.
Yeah,
You
but
know what
it's
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So it's like, mom, he doesn't pay to live here.
yeah.
So you got at least $1,000. You know what I mean? Of credit for the month. So first, let's work down his $1,000 that he owes you for housing. Then, you know what I'm saying? Then you give him extra money. If he
Yeah.
helps you, and then tell her she could say it's $100 for every time that he helps her. I bet she still wouldn't go over 1,000 by the end of the month.
No, she wouldn't, but she will not stop. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, because she
It,
wouldn't even understand what I was saying. She'd be like, "What are you talking about?" She'd be like, what are you talking about? I just gave him $20.
yep,
Like, no big deal.
that's exactly
You know what
right.
I'm saying? I'm like, "No, mom, stop." You know what I mean? Don't
That's
give it to him.
exactly right. That's right.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
But it
And
does start though, like someone said, from when children are raised.
That's
You
right.
know, you always talk about how your dad and your mom did you,
yes,
but it gave you more of a sense of like, okay, I got to hustle and do this for
that's
myself. We
right.
don't do
That's
that.
right.
We
That's right.
we turn love into like, oh
That's
no, I
right.
don't want them to worry for anything. But
That's
we're
right.
building such a poor adult.
That's
It's
right.
Yes.
we did it.
Hmm.
That's
I,
right.
I,
That's
I,
right.
I, I
And we
say
made
this.
it. And we
Yeah.
and then it's like he should feel like, no, grandma, no, that's what I'm here for. You
I'm,
know what I'm
They
saying?
don't feel it. They don't feel it. They
yeah.
don't feel
That not at all.
But it's a sense
And
of
he works.
entitlement. They
It-
feel children feel like they're entitled to these things,
That's
yes.
sad.
not to have to work to get it. They want it handed to them on a silver platter, and because we do that, they expect that. And if stuff doesn't go right with them when they
Yep.
are out working, well, I don't have to worry about that. Someone's gonna take
Yep.
care of me.
Yep.
And we
Yeah.
do.
And it's so sad. You know what I mean? Because we really have to protect, our seniors from that. Because
Hmm.
especially during the pandemic, there's been so much exploitation of our senior community.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
it's usually done by their own family,
Hmm.
the people that they trust. And the reason that it's not they don't press charges is because they go, I don't want to do that on my child. Like, and then the child's going in and using their Amazon account, and the account has their credit card on it, and they don't know, and they go, what is this on my credit card? Lord, Amazon taking my money. I've heard that before. And I'm like,
Happened to a
no,
family member of mine recently, and they don't, like you said, they don't want
yep,
to press charges
they
because it's
don't
a
want to,
family
yep.
member.
Yep, and they know, and then they say, "I didn't know. I didn't know that your credit card was in there." Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You know
Yes,
that
you
yours isn't.
did. Right.
It says how you gonna pay for this. You know what I'm saying? But the senior doesn't know. They don't really know. So it's so sad. Like, if we don't look out for them, who's gonna look out for them?
Mm.
Who is, and so that's our responsibility. And I think I also wanted to share, that, look at this, the annual household income of less than $40,000 gave an average of $1,400, while those with a household income of 40 to 80,000 gave $2,100 on average, and parents who had an annual income of more than 80 gave their kids on average $8,000
Mm.
plus
Mm.
during this pandemic time.
Are you serious?
Yep. And remember, that's money that they said you really should have been used on
Mhm.
debts.
Mm.
Mhm.
So you know, like some suggestions, like you all said, is like, first thing is that we have to check yourself. You really
Hmm.
have to get real with yourself. Are you in a position to take care of someone else's household? Because sometimes people will go, well, no, they can't live here. So they'll go and get the person. Like one of my neighbors, she said her daughter came home from college and she was getting on her nerves. So she got her an apartment downtown.
Mm.
Downtown.
Wow.
Downtown.
Yeah, downtown, exactly. Downtown. I know. Like, not cheap,
Downtown.
not cheap, not at all. Like, no, she
Not
put her,
at
like,
all.
she said you getting on her, so she put her right in the middle of young fun so that she could still have young fun. And you know, that would count of the person with the income of over 80,000. You know what I'm saying? And they start spending that $1,000 a month on getting them that rent plus, that apartment, so that they can be out of their hair, or whatever they've convinced themselves on why it's best for them to do it.
Wow.
Mm, mm, mm.
Wow.
but we need to get honest and, check yourself, like, what are you sacrificing by paying for that rent here
Mhm.
less than 20 miles away from you,
Right.
for no reason, just
Mm.
because you're not requiring that that person give you the respect that you deserve in your house. They need to earn it.
Mm.
As which I thought I'd never be old enough to say, and I say to my daughter all the time, that's the rule as long as you're here. These are my rules. These are my rules.
Amen.
That's
Saying
right.
there's no reason like trying to, and they need to learn how to do that until they can pay to create the lifestyle that
They
they want.
want. That's right.
That's giving them incentive.
Amen.
Mhm.
Amen.
Mhm.
And it's hard, when, because when you have two different, like, of course you all know that I'm divorced from her father, and that so he has a different approach financially than I do. Mine is more, earn it. You got to earn what you get. His is more, I'm going to give it to you because it's convenient, or it's more convenient for me to do that. Now I don't want to hear you whining.
Mhm.
So, like, it's just totally different. And I'm like, it doesn't matter to me how much you whine. Like, you know what I mean? No is no is no is no. And I think that a lot of parents, go through that.
Yeah.
But that, you said no, but then the other parent might say yes. I was saying, like, with the grandparents, and then one is like, this is wrong, and then the other one's like, oh, it's not so bad, she needs our help, the but you know we have to, just, that's why I said, like, just check yourself. I can
Mhm.
only control what I can control.
Mhm.
So I say, these are my rules, when you're with me. This is mine, and stand by your rules, stand by your values, stand by protecting your finances and what is, appropriate for the use of your dollars, and
Mhm.
never by any means try to keep up with anybody else.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Isn't it the truth?
Really
Mhm.
important.
No matter
Mhm.
what anybody else says, like they're doing, or what as my parents would always say, you don't know what they do to make their money.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I know what I do to make mine. Look, and
Yep,
this
that
is it.
is true.
This is it. So
Mhm.
check yourself, and be very comfortable with your financial position before you start talking to the adult child about your financial situation and what you can and cannot do.
Mhm.
You got to first know, what do I have enough money saved so that, I'm sitting here, say, the parents wants to retire in 5 years. How is that going to impact your retirement when you start sending all of this money outside of your retirement account, out of the house, away
Mhm.
from your savings?
Especially when you think they're going to take care of you because you took care of them.
And it
Nope.
doesn't work that way.
Nope.
It
Mhm.
does.
Nope.
Just doesn't work that way.
No.
And a lot of people, do that. Like that grandmother that co-signed, and that grandparent, and that grandchild refused to pay that loan that she co-signed for. I know I have a client that's an auntie, and they signed for their nephew. Now, mind you, if you're signing, then that means the parent's credit is already jacked up.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
So they're going around, like, you know what I'm saying? So right now, that that child has had a bad example of how to take care of financial responsibility,
Don't
Mhm.
sign nothing unless you can pay for it yourself. That's a
right?
lesson.
Right? And then
Exactly. There's
too,
a reason why they need a co-signer.
yes.
But Debbie, do you feel like the grandparents or the older parents, just did they feel guilty, and want to maybe help them out also too, because maybe what they didn't do for their child or for their parent when they were growing up, or
I
so they
I
trying to
think it's
know
mostly
to
that
the
they're
child.
fright. I think mostly they're frightened. I think a lot of times they don't want to be unliked.
Mm.
They don't want to be alone.
Mhm.
So, like, so they think that if I do this, then they'll love me, then they'll be
Mm.
there for me. then
Wrong.
like you said, like, and it doesn't work out that way
Mm-mm.
all the time. Sometimes, but it's rare. Like I've had client who turned over all of her assets to her granddaughter that was living in her house.
Mm.
And that granddaughter was so sweet while the grandparent was doing it. She said, I just want everything, JB, in her name. Everything, everything, everything. And as soon as she finished doing that, that girl started bringing men into the house, terrifying the grandmother. Then she kept complaining about her bringing men into the house because she was older and it was frightening her. She didn't know who the person was, and they were going down in the basement. A horrible situation. So
Mm.
she's like scared. And then the granddaughter, one day she called me and she said, I don't know where she is. She won't come home and da da da. So I called the granddaughter. I mean, mind you, the granddaughter's older than me because I was in my 20s when this happened. The grandma's in the 80s. The granddaughter wasn't raised by the parents because they didn't want her. She was raised by the grandma.
Mm.
So the grandma's giving her everything, trying to look out for her. And that girl said, I'm moving out. I can't take it no more. Moved out, and my client died by herself in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Wow.
happened. But
Wow.
JB, I think that there is like you have your middle class and then you have your lower class. So the lower class, they will just buy, the baby can't walk, but they got 10 pairs of Jordans.
Amen.
Amen. Then and then they never wear them. So they just have shoes lined up.
Yep.
And that's what I see. But then when you have your middle class, it's just like they're trying to, because with the lower class, maybe their parents were, maybe on drugs or just didn't raise them or they went up. So they really don't have it. But then the other class of people, they do whatever, it's just like, I'm getting him a car when he graduates.
Yep.
I'm going to, when they're young, they'll have all the Jordans to come out.
When they're rich,
Yes.
or not even like rich, but just a household income that's over 80,000. You know what I'm saying? And they feel like they're rich. You know what I mean? Because they got they got the big mortgage, they got the luxury cars, they got the, you know what I mean? They got the jobs that will allow them to go and finance everything. It's so true.
And you got 10 credit cards,
Yes. And the kids adopt that same behavior that they feel that they have to have everything. And then like when my daughter, because I'm an entrepreneur, she was brought up with, she could not have that much because I'm an entrepreneur and a single parent. You know what I mean? So she was comfortable with the word no. So with the one time, like my sisters and brothers were comparing my child to their child, and they were saying, "Oh, she's the only child, she's spoiled." I said, "No, it's different when a child is the only child, but the mother is an entrepreneur." You know what I mean? First of all, they see me work all the time. You know what I'm saying? And they hear the word no, we don't have it quite often.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, often than not. And I was like, so, you know what I mean? She didn't have like a whole bunch of other kids because, which is amazing though, is that, have you noticed that white kids are not as materialistic as Black kids when they're younger? They're not as, what kind of shoes you got on? What kind of coat you got? Is that a North Face? Is that a so-and-so? Like, so because we didn't have that branding pressure, you know what I mean? Because of her environment, we really didn't have a lot of pressure, like who made that? So maybe probably when she got like in high school and it was like, is that a UGG or are those, what type of purse is that? You know what I'm saying? Where it was like some like rich kids with horses and stuff like that. But way past, like even if they make good income, there's not a whole lot of putting assets just on the child's body. Trying to show it. You know what I mean? Just showing it. $1,000 outfits. and things like that. Like, that type of pressure that our children have in our schools.
It's a
What you
mindset.
wearing? What
It's a
is that? Like,
mindset.
that's a lot of pressure.
It
Mhm.
is.
Also because the experiences are different in that, and this is what I always say about the differences between black children and white children in education. Um, they white people travel more, and so their children have. So for them, the money might go into a trip to France or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, or
Mm-hmm.
Australia. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where the big ticket items are, and things that you can are experiential and
That's what I
educate.
was about to. Yep. Yep. And they invest in the experience. Like I was telling y'all in a members only meeting one time when I wanted to study international finance, and my family was like, she done lost her mind. Like, I want to go to Europe for the summer and it's only $3,000 there. Like, yeah, whatever. Get over it. Get a job. Like, you're like, we don't see, you know what I mean? That as you know what I mean, vital. And both of my parents were educators in higher education.
Mhm.
Like they just weren't seeing that you pay all this extra stuff for experiences and how it's going to help. Like, but mind you, our entire life experience has been different, where mine was more of people from the South. So my parents being from the South, it was, definitely different, you know what I mean, than people who have a northern experience,
Hmm.
where
When you
mine was
said
like
that,
you
they
work.
probably said she must think she's Becky,
Mm,
Amy. That's what they were thinking when you said that. They should please.
mm. Oh, then maybe it's like when you're trying to do something that's kind of outside of the norm.
Right. And it's not that they don't want you to have those experiences, but I think it's more this thing as, oh girl, she must think she one of them little white children. You know,
Yeah, it could have been. You never know. Yeah, because they're, what I mean, their schools probably weren't like doing that over the summer. And it didn't even like cross my mind that what you're thinking about is rare. It was just the professor said, "This is what we're doing. I think this will be good for you." And I'm like, "Yeah," like, and I didn't know those people. Like I was just like, I want to do it. But it became very important for me to, to allow my daughter to have, different experiences. So
but I
even like when we know, like I was like, oh my goodness, these cello lessons are so expensive. I still would continue to pay for it because I was like, I want her. This is what I always wanted. I always wanted private lessons. So
I
and
remember when I used to sell timeshare, we were trained on different demographics. So
mm,
it would probably be the same for some deep Southerners or people in the Appalachia because they don't they don't take airplanes. They only ride. They only drive. They only
mm,
trust
mm,
that they can
mm,
control,
mm.
which is
And then
like
some, yep. And a lot of times our experiences can work to our advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't have, because of what we've allowed to happen. Like if we allow our children to be less than what they're capable of being, you know then we've robbed them of the opportunity to go past us,
Yeah.
because they're stepping on our shoulders. Like we're
Mhm.
not supposed to be feeding them down, you know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
That's
We're
right.
supposed to be handing up.
Yep.
We're supposed to be
Right.
handing up and over. Like they should be going farther. They should be doing more. And unfortunately, some people find it empowering to be handing down or out to someone, and that's not good.
No.
You know what I mean? That's not good. Like our whole focus for them is should be to set an example of being independent,
Mhm.
and this is how you can do this for yourself. And this is how I'm telling one of our members today, because she just graduated from college and she was like, I don't know where I'm going to live. I said, well, girlfriend, when I graduated, I had to go find a place immediately. I said, so you are really blessed that at least you have two, options. But it was like I had to get out there and get that apartment quick. So, but it also, because of that, it forced me, I graduated with a job. Some people graduate and don't have a job. I was looking for a job like my whole senior year.
JB, can you hear me?
Yes,
How
yes.
are you?
Thank you,
Hello, everyone. Good
sweetheart.
evening.
Good. Thank you.
But you know what's interesting? I'm listening and I'm taking things in. It's sad sometimes that when we aspire to do things like different or on a different level, it's always sometimes perceived, well, a lot of times perceived as like white people. But that's why I always say representation matters, because Black people were doing things and on different levels and classy and had money, but we don't see
Amen.
that. So whenever
Amen.
someone says that, it's like the white people, no, Black people were classy too, and they did different
Amen.
things, but we
Yeah.
don't see that. So we always
Amen.
say like white people. No,
Isn't it
like
true?
Black
Or
people
like if
back
you're
in the
trying to
day.
do something different, you know what I mean? That you're trying to do that. And that's sad.
Yeah, I mean, just
I'm
like
so glad I never heard that, you know, growing up, that I never did hear that. I always just heard that you just have to do it for yourself.
that too, but
No.
again, we need to see the images of people like Natalie Cole. Like a lot of things that I see now that Black people had, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that.
That's
It's like
right.
we did that, but
That's
we
right.
don't see that. So we always kind of equate it with what white people do as opposed to what Black people have done for centuries. And
Amen.
we
Like
just don't
100
see
years
it.
ago, Black Wall Street.
Exactly. Rosewood,
100 years ago.
And it's like, and
Black
then
Wall
you know
Street.
what? I you know, and you know how we embrace that name Black Wall Street. I feel that we as AfroEconomics people, we should tell them to stop calling it Black Wall Street. Because Wall Street really was behind Greenwood. You know, like I mean, there's nothing, you know what I'm saying? Nothing amazing or good about Wall Street. You know what I mean? I mean, Wall Street wouldn't even exist without selling in the slave trade. You know what? That's what it was. Like, you know what I mean? We know this. We know better. A lot of the people who are saying it, they don't know better. And why would I, after all that those Black entrepreneurs, we could call it Black empowerment, we could call it Black entrepreneurs, we can call it Black business blocks of
Black excellence.
Black excellence.
Yeah.
Call it something, but don't call it Wall Street.
See, and I never even looked at it like that. That's why we
But-
have to tell our own story. So what you're
Amen.
saying now, yeah, I feel what you're
But
saying.
look at that type
Yeah.
of confirmation. You know what I mean? Would if it was something that was connected to a tragedy like Wall Street is, on how they used Black people in order to create a trading and sense of commerce, it is based out of the slave trade. Like so would any other group of people name what they do after that?
True. Well, a
I
group
mean,
of
it's like, I
successful-
mean, God forbid, it would be like naming something like, you know, and I mean this with all respect, like the white Holocaust or something.
Right.
That is huge. Something worse than an oxymoron. No, we can't do it anymore. Like, and I keep getting like inboxes on people like, how many Black Wall Streets do they have? Like, you know what I mean? In the country now. It's like this Black Wall Street group, that Black Wall Street group, you know what I mean? Let's stop.
Yes.
And just create something real, or even better, help AfroEconomics be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what they were creating. A Black economy.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was helping
That's
the
what they
entire
did.
planet.
Well,
You know-
it was a thriving economy. It was a very successful.
Amen.
100 years ago.
Exactly.
Look at all that they had and how
Yes,
easily it
yes.
was taken away.
And the tragedy of it is people could get insurance for their slaves, but those Black businesses couldn't get insurance.
Right.
You could get insurance for slaves that were put on a slave ship, but you
they
couldn't
said-
get insurance for your shoe shop in Greenwood.
Well, they said that Tulsa had insurance, but the way they turned it around was they said because the Black folks inspired the riot that it was not covered. at least in the documentary.
But they were most likely talking about the residential property.
But listen to
No,
what
they
she
were
said,
talking
how they
about the
turned it
business.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
they
said
turned it around and says because the black people caused the riot, that it wasn't covered by the business insurances.
And that's
But
what you
that
call
doesn't, that's not
controlling the
even, but that's
narrative.
not even legal. Like that wouldn't even be legal.
But that was 100
Like they would
years
have
ago.
they would have to prove that each individual business owner burned down their own building, not
But
to the
this
root
was
cause of it. So we literally, they could go back to the insurance companies and get paid.
well.
But
That's
we
why
always let them control the narrative. See how they control the narrative, and we start saying, "Huh? Oh, I didn't realize it happened that way," because
Yep.
it didn't.
Yep.
No,
Sue the
no.
insurance company, because
Yeah.
some of those insurance companies still exist.
No, I'm just talking about
Exactly.
when people control the narrative, we
Yeah.
believe them because they always control
right.
the
And I
narrative.
believe that they changed the story because this was an
Exactly.
exclusive.
I mean, but think about
area.
how good they feel when you call it Black Wall Street.
Exactly.
Right. And I didn't even think about it until you just said what you just said.
Exactly.
I would be
Exactly.
so proud of myself. They them Negroes naming it after me.
Right.
But this was 100 years ago, though, in the middle of
But
all
they
that was
didn't
going
call
on.
it Black Wall Street back then. I bet they
No,
did
they
not. I
didn't.
hope not. Like, you know what
I
I'm
don't
saying? Well,
believe they did.
Because Wall Street wasn't significant back then. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
there, but it
Mhm.
wasn't like that. Like, you know, like we acknowledge it. But
But
so they didn't, that's just something that we're, you know what I mean, using to like,
right,
you know, say, oh, it was big time. You know what I mean? It was more than that. It was
right. It
more
was
than that.
more than that because it was more like a small town. They had their
Amen.
own everything. They
Well,
didn't. They
let's
didn't.
call it Black excellence.
That's right.
Right, because they didn't
Tulsa,
depend on the
or
white man
Green,
for
or what's
nothing.
it? The name of it is Greenwood, right? Like,
Right.
isn't that
Yeah.
good enough? Isn't that good enough? It is
Yeah.
Yeah.
something that happened to them, and think about all of the other Black communities that happened to. Like, so
Wow.
as a brother was saying to me today, he was like, think about how many people who were killed like George Floyd, and there was no cell phones there to record it.
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah.
I said, I know. You know what I mean? Think about how many Black businesses have been put out of business, as you said, for false pretenses that they decided they didn't want to pay out because, yeah, you were burned down because you're a bad Negro. That's why that was burned down. Like, you know,
Yes.
we need
Yes.
to address that insurance company. A lot of them, like the ones that had insured slave ships, like Aetna, New York Life, you know, these companies, JP Morgan benefited from slave trade. They still exist today.
Yep.
They could be paying reparations.
No, we're
There
too
was,
busy kumbayaing.
I told
Kumbaya.
y'all exactly. You know what I mean? And setting up new programs and sponsoring Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? And still getting paid off us.
Isn't
That's
that
right.
something?
Paid.
Did anybody see the documentary on this the other night?
I
Because
did.
yeah, what they were talking about was reparation, and one of it was because of the insurance fraud. It's just crazy, but
Yep.
because that was acceptable 100 years ago.
But how many years does it take for you to do that? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like these people have, I mean, it took like 20 years for them to successfully in West Virginia sue DuPont, a
Mm.
major company. You know what I'm saying? And all of those people got paid.
Well,
You know,
here's the thing. I think the government knew about it because those were World War I veterans, the bomb that, that did that. But here's the thing. Everybody, like the Jewish get their money, the
Yes.
Japanese get their money,
Yes.
the Indians got the reservation in the casino. Everybody who comes over here, they get what they want.
That's right.
Black people have not gotten one thing yet.
And it's
And how
because
come
we're
though?
still, because if we left the country, if we had all left,
that's right.
and then we would have been in a position to actually sue. But
And just like
because we
this,
stayed here and helped this country grow, we get punished for it.
right. But the thing is that how will we go anywhere? If they say you can go, how
And
will
they
we
should
get
have,
there?
when we go, they have to give us our check too, just like the other people who
So,
came here and
right,
their countries paid them. You know what I mean? For years, they've been paying them. You know,
Right.
Germany is still paying the people who are descendants of the people who survived the Holocaust. Like they're
Mhm.
still
And-
paying them. Like,
United States still pay, Israel. They get
mm,
get a check all the time. So I don't
mm,
think,
mm.
Okay, so
you
what
know,
do we
like,
need to do? We need to leave. Is that what you're saying?
It's too
I
many of
know,
us.
but if
no,
you know
there's
what I'm
too many.
saying,
We couldn't leave if we
but if
wanted
we had
to.
not been, and there should be an appreciation for the commitment. But at this point, I unfortunately I believe that we're looked at as the underclass overall.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And they're saying, and they don't understand what happens. So they're constantly trying to recruit other demographics so they
Yep.
don't have to hire us anymore.
Yep.
And it's
That's it.
almost like so that we could just disappear. And that is why we have to be more encouraging about entrepreneurship, because
Amen.
that is the answer for our young
Yep.
Black people who are entering the workplace. We have to teach them to be entrepreneurs, and it is not pushed nor encouraged. And there's not enough space for these kids to be all that they can be in the government.
That's right.
There's just not. Like, these kids have dreams, they have aspirations, and we
But
have
I
to,
think
we have to teach them to
we
build
have to teach
businesses.
them, but I don't think our generation is teaching them.
No,
Because first thing
no,
they'll say is go to college.
yep.
That's the
Yep.
first
And
thing
if
they
they go
say.
to
Go
college,
get
they
a
still
college.
coming
Yeah.
out. They're coming out with no
They're coming
job.
out in debt.
And a lot of
Yeah,
In
debt.
debt.
and
Exactly
no
what I
job.
was going to say. They're always
So they
pushing
still have to start the
universities,
business.
colleges,
You know what
and
I'm
Right.
not
So
the
saying?
but you don't
trades
hear
and not
nobody say, well,
entrepreneurship.
why don't you go to plumbing school? Why don't you learn how to be an electrician? And they may like to do stuff like that, but they're not encouraged to
That's
do
right.
that.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
if you just keep giving them checks and just and promoting a lifestyle that they cannot afford
That's
independently,
right.
it
Yep.
does not solve the problem. Instead, we should be investing in the training that they need in order to build the business that they want. Like, I have one client, and she's in her 80s, and she had a foster child. And the foster child got in trouble and he went to prison. When he got out, he came back to her. She said, I'm going to send him to community college. She sent him to me community college. He does HVAC now. And she said, JB, he can take care of himself. He got his own place. You know what I'm saying? And she
Mhm.
made a wise investment.
She
Yeah.
did.
But to keep just feeding something, you know what I'm saying? And not equipping them with the ability to take care of themselves. I mean, and he is like very committed to her, like really, really looks out for her. She need anything, she call him, he come up there, and takes care of her. Like, that's a blessing. So it's like, not, you can't tell him that that's not his mom. That's,
Maybe can I add something on this topic just quickly?
yes.
When we're talking about vocational
Mm,
opportunities for students, because I am in education.
beautiful.
If you go to the Virginia Department of Education, you will notice that the Department of Education has now called opportunities for students career and college readiness. And it's something called the profile of a Virginia graduate that now focuses on the vocational skills, the path that doesn't take students to college. It does promote the HVAC and other vocational.
That's right.
I know that the
That's
state
right.
has made a lot of progress in that area because they're high paying jobs in vocational skills. There's the apprentice school down in the Norfolk area that students can go directly there out of high school, get on track for eventually six-figure jobs. I think we have to do more research and seeing what's available,
Yeah.
because do the
It used to
research.
be
There's a lot
in the
out.
school, though. That's the sad part. It
It still
used to
isn't, but
be,
it still is in several schools. There's still
but a lot few. Like, at my high school, a person could graduate and go on to work as an apprentice for somebody. Like, when I was in high school. Now those programs, they've cut out. Like, they have to go to, in many counties and cities in Virginia, they have to go to a certain school. They have to sign up and be approved for it. It's crazy. Like,
it's
that's
coming more than it was when I was in school. It was there. Well, it was a period where it was taken out of school, but it has got more traction now, and there are more opportunities if we really look for them.
and a girl used to be able to become a hairstylist straight out of high school. she would have her cosmetology license. Now she has to come up with $20,000. You know what I'm saying? In order to go to some school, you know what I mean, to get it after high school.
So the
That's
technical
sad.
centers no longer exist. Like,
I thought Howland Springs and Hermitage and some of those vocational schools still exist. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, it's not
Technical centers.
it's not the same. Like you have to like, and they run out. Like this one student, when I spoke at this school a other couple of weeks ago, like she was saying about, especially with COVID, like she was trying to do the nursing program, and with COVID, they shut it down, and so she's gonna have to go to the community college for do something that she would have been able to do while she was in high school. You know what I mean? But they shut it down, and but there's but nursing is a great one that we should be able to, anybody that wants to do it. It shouldn't be as long as we have space. Anybody that wants to do it, you know what I mean, should be able to do it. It should be at
yes,
every
we need
school.
some nurses. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, indeed. Like, you know what I mean? And if a guy wants to learn how to fix a car, it should be in there. You know what I mean? They should learn how to fix the car in high school like we used to have before.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
Yeah,
I
I
was,
agree. I
gotta
agree.
be. And if I want to
Because
learn
some
how
of
to do,
these kids don't know how to do anything with their hands.
yeah,
It's like,
and
are
if
you
I want to
kidding
learn
me?
how to do computers, you know what I'm saying? I remember I wanted my daughter to take her computer science class. They said, well, no, she has to be approved for a certain program. That's ridiculous. Everybody in high school should be studying computer science.
That's right.
Well,
Everybody has to
look
use
at
the computer. That should be a basic class. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
How
as
many
well as
histories do you
finances.
have to take?
Yeah. And finance class too.
Yeah.
Oh,
You-
okay. All
so they
right.
got finance is
Yeah.
required now in the Virginia and some other states also. They have
In,
to take
in high
personal
school?
finance.
Even in
In
Yeah,
high school? Okay.
one
But
class.
do
One
all
class.
students need to take that though? Is that for all students?
Yes, it's required to graduate.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought it emphasized too much on loans.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? A lot on debt.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? I would have liked to have sent it more intensive on, just budgeting, lifestyle, investing,
Yeah,
but I
managing your
think it's
money.
like sponsored, you know what I mean? Capital One may be a sponsor and stuff like that or something, you know. 'Cause there was a lot of like, what's your dream car? What's your car? What car would you like? I was like, why are y'all doing this? In the but and why wouldn't you at least discuss like saving up for something?
Yes,
You know
yes.
what I'm saying? Like we're programmed to, if you want a car, then you got to finance it. What if we're programmed to, if you want a car, you save up for it?
Mm.
If you save da 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 da, you'll have your car by blah 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 time. That's powerful to me. No, it's like, no, you got to have it right now because that's how we make money. We have institutional slavery that the majority of Americans will just work their entire life just to pay interest back to these financial companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then showing students how much it costs to finance versus buying it upright. How much?
Yeah, and they don't show you that
No,
that
they
you
don't.
bought the car 2 times because you couldn't just wait and save up for it and get on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Get on the bus.
Instant gratification.
Get on the bus. Take a ride. My mom and dad, they rode together. For the majority of my life, we had one car. They worked at the same place. You know what I mean? They had one car. Until my mother, when I was about to graduate, and she said, I'm tired of waiting for you after work, because she would have to wait sometime. She's like, I'm tired of waiting for you. I'm going to get a car, which was probably a bad financial move. And my dad was really disappointed about it. But what happens was now she was like, I got my own job, I got my own car, I got my own money. You know what I'm saying? So and she got this car, and it was a raggedy car. What she get? And it had that smell to it. One of those ones, if I told y'all, they were so popular back then. They
It
were,
had a smell.
and it had a smell. Its exhaust stunk. I just remember that the exhaust was messed up. And then she was like, well, I'm gonna get rid of this. I forgot what Michael was telling me. Michael said his mom had one of them, and I was like, we had that. And the a Chevette. Remember those? The Chevette.
Mm-hmm.
Chevrolet Chevette.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chevette like had like this sour egg smell. It was probably like killing us. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like the exhaust was probably messed up.
Was that the one that
But
said Chevy Chevette?
yeah, you remember that? And then he yelled the Chevy Chevette. That's funny. And and then after that, like she got addicted to it. So then she got a Cadillac, got the mini Cadillac when the first mini Cadillac got out. But you know, those type of moves can change your family's whole financial position. Like imagine the money they could have saved if mom just said, "I'll wait."
It was a convenience move.
Yeah. She was like, I just want to get home. And then when she started getting home before him, what she do then? Just call him and keep telling him come home. She might as well just waited. She's like, come home. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna eat till you get here. Like, well, you might as well wait it. Exactly. That's funny. I wonder if she probably don't even remember. She'd be so mad at me if she heard it. So, I was tired of waiting for him. But that is how you doing, Miss Davis? Don't think I didn't. I saw you didn't leave a message today, but every time I'd be in a meeting, you would call. I was like, see you come up on the call I did. I'd be like, oh man, but you are on my schedule for tomorrow. And the and another thing I wanted to say that consider like if you're in this situation that consider like let's having a meeting all together with the adult child and you, and maybe I can serve as a mediator and we can just have a financial empowerment meeting and get involved in what might help them turn their finances around and help you be able to focus more on just your financial goals so that you are not a burden on them. And then if you do decide, my final point is that if you decide that you want to help your adult child, make sure you put it in writing what you're doing. Even if you're giving it to them, which I suggest, it needs to be acknowledged that for the next 6 months, I am going to give you blah, blah, blah amount of money, or I am going to give you if you're doing a lump sum, which I wouldn't suggest, if you're doing a lump sum, put it in writing and say how long you expect this money to last and what it is for, and that you don't expect any payment back, but you do expect them to change this type of, behavior to this, and this. And even if they're out of work, that is no excuse for you to feel like that is your responsibility for you to maintain their lifestyle. Being out of work is a temporary situation. It's different if you have a child that is disabled. But being out of work, they need to be looking for another job and they need to be finding it quick. You feel me on that? Look at me. It's hot in here. You see me?
But there's always stuff they can do. There's DoorDash. If they have a car, they can do so many different things. They may not be making the money
That's
they
right.
were making, but if you got to hustle on you, you can do stuff to earn something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have the zeal
Speak.
to hustle. Like they don't even have the zeal to know, or don't even have the basic building blocks to know what they need to do to even get from point A to point B to know, okay, I
No.
need to make this happen. I need to start figuring something out, seeking help if I don't even have a clue. It's just like they just walking around like zombies.
Yep.
Looking
And I
for
think it's important to say no as early as possible.
Yeah.
But as long as their needs are being met, they have no reason
That's right.
Exactly.
to find a solution. And I think that's the problem sometimes.
That's right.
Exactly. No matter what, no, even if you have it, that's no reason to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to, like when people go, I don't have it. Like, yeah, you do. They know you do. You have it, but it's still not for them to have.
Right.
And do you know that the majority of Americans do not expect to receive an inheritance? That means that most white people do not live under the understanding that I've got to get something from my parents when they die.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what we should do is, if you are giving while you are alive, You
That's
need to
right.
make sure in that statement that you do that you are reducing, the money that I can leave behind for you.
That's right.
You're spending your own future.
Yeah.
Like I have one client that she has a child that owes her so much that on her beneficiary form, she's adjusted the percentage that goes to that child.
Mm.
Mm.
That was smart.
She's like, why should the others suffer when you're the, you know what I mean? When you got more of yours while I was alive.
Mm.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So make sure that you clearly communicate, what the impact is of things that are going on in your financial life. And if I make this decision to help you, how that's going to impact me and what I expect back from you, and then sign off on it and put on there how often you all are going to sit and talk about it. If it's quarterly or every 6 months, like say you made an agreement that I'm going to pay you for 6 months because you're out of work, and then they get a job. You don't have to keep paying that. You understand that just because you put it in writing that for 6 months. So, and you should not have to put in there, if you get a job within that time, I'm going to stop doing this. No, if it gets that kind of situation, you know what I'm saying? They shouldn't get anything. It's your money and you stop it. And you stop it. But this is, a good discussion about what is going on as far as, handling things with our adult children, because I don't think, the majority of them feel like they're doing anything wrong. It's just that we have to learn how to, control it and address it correctly,
That's right.
and don't feel like, it's important to say yes all the time, because I think it's more important for us as parents to be respected and understood than to be like, oh, like, they have to like me all the time. I want her to respect me and understand me and see my value system. And no, because my parents said no to me all the time, but I still respect them a great deal. And I have seen people whose parents always say yes and they have no respect for them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Find that amazing. It's amazing. So I think it's, that we just have to say what we're going to do and do what you say,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you know and also the key is a respectful child will be a respectful child. It's really nothing about you, because there's a respectful child who has respect for a crackhead parent.
Yes.
You know that you're a good parent. You know what I mean? You're worthy of respect
Mm.
regardless. So it is on them in order to be that way. Isn't that true though? You see, like the worst parents, like you go, they still carry that person with respect. They still want the best for them. Like Dwayne Wade, like his mom was a crackhead. He
Mm.
still takes care of her
Yeah.
and carries her with the most respect and feels a sense of responsibility.
Mm.
I have a question for you, JB,
Hmm.
about some of your experiences with some clients, because I wish, let's just take Washington, D.C., for example.
Hmm.
You have a lot of people who their children are adults. They chose to move out to the suburbs of Maryland or Virginia, such and such. They may or not keep the property, or if there were older
Hmm.
people who never had children. I wish there was more of these conversations where people would say, let's keep this property in the family, because you have people swooping
That's
in. And I know in DC, people would just walk up on your
mm,
property and
mm,
ask you if your
mm,
house is for sale. Now, in African American culture, that is considered quite rude, quite,
mm,
quite
mm,
rude.
mm,
But
mm.
in other cultures, they don't care. They just conquer. They don't care. I see it, I want it. What
That's
have
right.
been some of your experiences as far as some of your clients trying to keep a property within their family that have children?
You know, that's a very good point, because we have a member and she is about to sell her property in DC proper that you're referring to, and mostly because her children are not interested in it at all. They've all moved away,
That's
and she
true.
knows there's a lot of money in the house, and she's
Yep.
like, I'm just, gonna sell it, and I may, move, down south, because they, the children move down south. And but I mean, I feel you on that, and I have way too many clients that are actually, selling their properties in
Yeah,
the district,
that's
and
true.
and I think because urban living comes with the challenge, and a lot of times the kids aren't interested, in it, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not interested in helping you maintain it, and they're
That's
not
right.
interested in helping you, um address the problems, or repairs, or things that you need for the property. So they have no choice, really,
Yeah.
because they're all alone. We have a growing number of our seniors that are all alone, and
Yes.
not that they don't have children. Their children just unfortunately don't care.
Don't have time for it.
True.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
Yep.
I
True.
have to,
So much that
so
they don't
Problem
have
being
time.
value.
Sometime when you have an older home, the upkeep of the home is just too much.
yep,
Sometimes it's time to let it go.
it's
It's
so
this.
true.
That's right.
And if they
I,
don't want it, like, and I know, Paula, you're saying like they should have some interest in it. But
Well, as seeing
if
it as
they
an
don't,
investment.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yes, the upkeep is too much, but I'm saying that's why from the time the person is a child,
mm,
you grow them with that mentality of this is an investment. I have a
mm-hmm,
friend that said
mm-hmm,
something born and raised in
mm-hmm,
DC, and
mm-hmm,
she said something so interesting, how Black people see the now, white people see the future. You have a lot of people throughout this country. I've seen it in different countries, different states, major cities. You'll have gay couples come in,
mm,
buy rundown
well,
properties.
well,
You know it.
well, I
Mhm.
mean, you have to have money in order to see the future.
Yeah.
Gay
Like
Yeah.
we don't mean it, like, what I mean, but when you only have enough money to get you to the next 30 days,
that's
that's why
right.
we're focused on the now.
Yep.
right.
When you have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can focus on, what I mean, the next year. And when
And
you have millions, like a lot of them have, you can focus on the next decade, you know what I'm saying? And the next
Mhm.
decade. And that's where we want to be, but it's just, too often, because of discrimination and being
Mhm.
undercompensated and over criminalized, we
that's
don't have
right.
that
You can't get
opportunity.
there.
Yeah.
We
You
don't
don't.
have that
Mhm.
Part
opportunity.
of the issue goes back to what we were talking about,
Yep.
because you have so many educated people that have moved out to the suburbs because that what was pushed. Education, which I'm all for it, but your PhD can't fix my plumbing. And so because we do not have balance with the
Mm,
trades and education,
that's
we
right.
don't have those kind of consortiums
That's
and
right. But your
mindsets.
PhD, if your PhD is paying you, you shouldn't have no problems worrying about plumbing. You know what I'm saying? You can hire the black plumber. You can hire
But
any plumber.
unfortunately, many times a master's
But a
degree and a
lot of
PhD,
times we're getting the education and we still can't afford to get the plumber. That's the
right?
problem.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
Because
right.
we
That's
have
the
all the
name for that
That's right.
PhD.
we have a whole bunch of education as a people, but we're
Yeah.
not like my clients that have no, if I just did net worth, I would have more clients with a higher net worth that didn't finish college than those that did.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm multi-millionaire clients that never thought about going to college. And we accomplish so much together because in many situations they just respect my guidance more.
And then
Right.
they don't have any student debt either.
They don't have the debt. They never had the debt. They've
Mm.
spent their money, you know what I mean? But when I give them, this is what you should do. They did it. When we met
Mhm.
26 years ago and I said, this is how you should be doing it at work, they did it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, sometimes when we get all of these education, we question everything.
Yeah.
Even when we go to an expert that looks just like you still don't think they can be smart like you.
Yes.
Right.
It's so sad.
Exactly. Sometimes it's
so sad.
gender.
Is multi-layered. We're miseducated from society with their lies and narratives, but we
Mm,
also miseducated ourselves
mm.
because we were told to strive to be wonderful. But Black women are the most educated, I say,
Amen.
the most educated people in society. Guess what? We don't have husbands. Most of us,
And we're the lowest compensated.
lowest
Yeah.
The lowest compensated. And the most likely to grow old and be broke.
exactly.
That's something to think about.
Mm.
That is to show to us that we have to learn. But remember, I was telling you a story about one of our members, and I told her I will double your income before the end of this year. And when we had our next meeting, she told me, I don't want to.
Mm.
It.
I telling you, as a member of AfroEconomics, I know how to increase income. Don't I, Ms. White?
Sure do.
I know. We say, amen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Amen. I know what I'm doing.
But she thought it would come out in her in taxes, that she really wouldn't make it. Is that what she thought after the
No,
taxes?
no,
Mm.
no, no. And I run into it all the time.
She didn't
Until
believe in you. Is that what it was?
she didn't believe in herself enough.
But what about you? Did
And
she
definitely
believe in
didn't
you?
believe in me. Like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
I said, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? We can do this. All you gotta do,
Definitely.
you know what I'm saying? Just give me that updated resume, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna change what we're gonna go after. We're gonna so we can do this. But if you first have to believe in yourself,
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
like Miss White did, like you believe in
Sure.
yourself, you can do it. You have to, you know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness, don't let me bring God into this. Woo! But we can do all things.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead and
Go
say it.
ahead. Go
We
ahead.
can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it. He said that I am poor so that you can be rich.
Rich.
Amen.
We are not supposed to be broke.
That's it.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So whatever, if you decide you do to be broke, you're out of alignment.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
God's will for us to live in abundance and to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Yeah.
of those things ain't happening, we need to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? But we have to first, you got to have enough faith in order to want it for yourself. And most of us don't have it because we think that because you get the degree, it's gonna come to you. And it's not.
And it's not.
And you got to be willing to go after it. You got to be willing to go after it. Somebody was saying today, and they were like, it is very lonely. I can't imagine how lonely your life is, JB, like how lonely it is to be an entrepreneur. And I said, yes, especially in a white male dominated field. You know what I mean? And you're a Black woman out here. Like, you know, but have I ever considered turning back? No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't do it, who will? And that's the kind of attitude that we have to adapt. If we don't do it, who will? If you don't do it for your family, who will? If your kids are looking at you, we telling them to hustle. We gotta hustle first.
Yep. Yep.
When you hustle, you ain't, you know what I'm saying? And you know you did shoot. You hustle hard for your money, you won't be giving it away so quick.
That's right.
Right, King Hollis? You will reconsider.
Yeah, you're right.
You was like, you was like, you know how hard it was? You know how hard I had to work in order to get this? No, you got to get your own. Show them how to fish, and they'll what?
Yeah.
They'll eat forever. Give them a fish. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna eat that day.
Eat for that day. That's right.
And not even enough. We got to get stronger. We have to get stronger. We have to get stronger. We have to get stronger. You have to believe that we are the aftermath of Greenwood, and that we're still making it right.
Yeah.
We're still making it right. We're getting this right. We're getting it. If that happened to you, would you pick it up? Can you clean up the rubble? Can you make it after somebody, when they drop the bomb on you, will you come back? we have to show that, to everyone that looks at you, they have to realize like they, you know what I mean? They tried to blow you up with the biggest punch that they could come up with.
Yep.
And you still came back.
Yep.
They tried to knock you down, you know what I mean? You still came back.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to take your money, you still got it back. They say you didn't do something, but you showed them that you did. We always having to prove ourselves. We do not get the benefit of the doubt. Yesterday I went to this meeting at this a wellness visit at the doctor's office, and they were so rude to me. I mean, they were straight rude. And I thought to myself, they can't get me. You cannot get me. I was like, and I said, and if they bring it up and even try to apologize for being mean, I'm going to explain to them that I'm from the South and I'm very accustomed to your rude behavior, unfortunately. So the more you keep thinking that try to act like on TV commercials that things have changed for me, when I see you act like that to me, I remember it's still the same. You still have no respect for me. You still have no respect for yourself. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure I respect me. And I'm going to walk right on out of here. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to get the slightest bit of emotion out of me.
Right.
And the cooler that we get as a people, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody, they want to see you, you know what I mean? Act a fool. They want to see our men act up. They want to see us women, you know what I mean, lose our mind. And I mean, like the masters of negativity, the jobs want to see you just lose it. People are tripping now. Like, and we have to rise above it. We have to be the examples. Because they're going to keep on testing you. It's crazy. It's a whole bunch of people under a whole bunch of unnecessary pressure, but they don't have enough faith to see that God will get them to the other side. But you're going to have to be different. You can get to the other side of this, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So, we just had to walk away. Just walk away. So you all be strong, be confident, be cool.
You too,
Those
JB.
any questions about anything, don't hesitate. Email me, jb@jbbryan.com. I look forward to our members only meeting on Friday morning. Don't forget that we have a free membership. It's called No Excuses because there's no excuse. So sign up for the free membership and take advantage of that introductory offer. All righty. Love y'all. Have
Love
a
you
good
you
day.
too.
Good
Thank
night.
you so much.
Good
Thank you
night.
for the
Good night.
participation. Love you
Yeah.
back. All right now.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Y'all the best.
What
Y'all
song?
good.
Good night.
What
That's
tune?
right.
Good night.
That's right. It's the good life.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.